Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Family Ties, the board game, is one of the best board games from this era that I've played. You know, those mass market type games. And this one, you've got a hand of cards and you're trying to get a card with a picture on it for each family member. Except you do not want Skippy, who is the next door neighbor. And he's kind of annoying, and that's the part that he plays on the show. The game does have roll and move as you're going around and some randomness in the game, but it's really a trading game, almost like a precursor to Settlers of Catan. You want to be able to trade the family members so you can have a picture of each person. You have a hand limit, and once again, Skippy's moving around the board. Somebody will always have Skippy, and you have to get rid of him. So there's a little bit of lying in what you're going to be trading with other people. Somebody could always be giving you that dreaded Skippy card. That does fit into the vernacular of the show. It's fun. It brings you back to that time. Is it going to blow your socks off in today's modern world? Probably not. But I have to admit, despite the IP or in place of the IP, it's actually not a bad little family game. So Family Ties is a winner for us and a keeper, and not just for the intellectual property.
Here are the components for Family Ties game set up. You're going to get a regular 6-sided die. You're going to get some paper money, a board that kind of looks like Monopoly. You're going to get the contents listed on the back of the box, which is pretty cool. You're going to get these cards that are really cheap, cheaper than any business cards I've ever had. Feels like it was off of a printer somewhere. You're going to have some of these Don't Blink cards, or basically your Take That cards, and a very colorful board. You're going to have standees of the different characters. Here you have Alex, or maybe you want to be Steven, or maybe you even want to be the dreaded Andrew. Here's what the game looked like set up. You will have your characters, whoever you want to play as. You can play with any of the players except for Skippy. You'll start here. You have your Say Cheese and your Don't Blink, and you'll have your money set up over there. Everybody will start the game out with $50. In addition, you will have 6 cards in your hand. These will be randomized, and you will have 6 cards, and one person in their 6 cards will have the Skippy card. In order to win the game, you have to have 1 card of each family member in your hand. So each card has to be different because there's 6 family members and only 6 cards that can be in your hand. And if you have the Skippy card in your hand, you cannot win because it would take the place of one of the family members. And you must have $100. On a turn, you simply roll the dice and you move that many spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you do whatever spot that you land on. Some of the spots will allow you to take a Say Cheese card, which will be an additional character from the show. If you already have it, or you're already up at 6, and you have to discard a card, I already have an Elise card, so I'll just get rid of one of my cards. It doesn't matter which one. Some of the cards that you'll get will have you move the Skippy around the board. You never want to be the player with Skippy, but keep in mind, somebody at all times will have the Skippy, and thus are in a position to not win the game. You also will get these Don't Blink cards, which will have different Take That things on it. So Alex and Andrew went to the shopping mall to watch Wall Street News on the big screen, discard an Alex or Andrew card. So if you had an Alex or Andrew, then you would have to discard this card, hoping you could get it back at some other point. Let's take a look at a couple more of these. Mallory's boyfriend puts a piece of his environmental art, junk sculpture, on your front lawn. You get fined for running a junkyard without a license. You have to give up $10. Elise can't be there to pose for the portrait. She has to go to her people who are against people meeting. Discard an Elise card. Hands off. And there'll be things that you can do. Now, the most interesting part of the game is this hand management, where you're trying not only to try to get Skippy out of your hand, but you're trying to get one of each player. Now, the way they go about that, of being a random play, isn't that much fun, but it is fun trying to do this. Now, there is a position in the game where you can be trading people, think Settlers of Catan, where you can trade cards off for money. Obviously, nobody's going to take Skippy from you, but if you had 2 Andrews, you want to get rid of an Andrew and maybe get $20 in return, you can do so. You also have these spaces on the board where you can go to the left or the right, depending on which min-max you want to do, or maybe what you're trying to accomplish. But that's the game of Family Ties. First person to get all 6 players and have $100 wins the game.
Who should buy this game? This is for fans of Family Ties. If you are dying to play a Family Ties board game with your family, this is probably your only decision you can make. Otherwise, the game is not a bad little family weight game. It's fun as you're trading around to get pictures. I could even see somebody making their own custom version of this game, quite honestly, with members of your own family. And you can make your own Skippy of that annoying uncle that you don't want to come over, or neighbor or something. So we all know that guy. or gal. So that could definitely be replaced. I think that'd be really fun to do with this game, now that I'm talking about it. For us, this is actually a keeper. It's a good game, and not just because of the intellectual property.